Oh boy, what's this thing that just popped up here? A 2000 Honda 400EX for 1500 buckaroos. Alright, let's read this description here. I have a 2000 Honda 400EX, has a new top end. Jug, piston, and rings gasket a half hour on it. Maybe only proof is pictures. Man, this guy knows some good grammar. And I have old jug and piston. Has full... He doesn't have any periods in this sentence. Has full White Brothers exhaust. In the beginning of the year, it has new Meyer Racing plastics, new front calipers and pads, both sprockets and chain, back rotor and pads. It needs new back tires. They're pretty bald and one don't hold air very long. Needs a solenoid. Starts but have to use a screwdriver to jump solenoid. Could use a new back brake caliper. Works yet, but it's getting wore out. It needs a new clutch cable, but ordering one new. $1,500 or best offer. Only selling to fix my Jeep. So I looked through the pictures. This thing looks pretty dang clean. Let's take a gander. I actually kind of like the look of the plastics. It reminds me of my Quadzilla, my old one. Needs a new seat cover, it looks like. I mean, it's not horrible on here, but I really don't like that seat cover. I'd like to get like a red and black one maybe to match the red pieces. I don't know, maybe straight black. We'll have to see. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It looks like new grips on there. Anyway, I offered $1,200. The guy came back with $13. So we're gonna go over there and see if he takes $13 for it. You can see the new jug on it right there. Okay, so this is the piston. I hope we didn't use a crappy piston in here. It looks like a cylinder that might be crappy too. So at least he's got the old cylinder we can repair. But yeah, doesn't look too bad. But yeah, we're gonna go pick it up. It's about an hour, 30 minutes away. I thought it was a pretty good deal. Right now these things are going for like $2,500, so. All right, let's go check it out. Obviously we're gonna look for wheel bearings. We're gonna look for compression. I've got my compression gauge with me. If it doesn't start up right away and it seems weird or it's knocking, we're gonna check compression. Yeah, other than that, check sprocket and chain, make sure he's not lying about those. Check for oil leaks, stuff like that. Check the air filter, and then ask him a couple questions and we should be on the road. We're on the road. 13 minutes until our destination. Hopefully it's not a piece of crap. There's always a risk of going and it being just really, really crappy. Typically, I don't like to ask too many questions ahead of time because that kind of limits the ability to chew them down when you get there. Because you're like, oh, I didn't know this was wrong with it. Oh, I didn't know this was wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. Would you take off 50 bucks? So I typically don't ask too many questions in hopes that he'll go down in price, but yeah, it doesn't always work that way. So hopefully he's understanding, and if there is an issue with it, that he will come down. He said he wanted to get $1,300, but it is missing quite a bit. It needs a seat cover, needs a clutch cable, needs a solenoid. So right there, you're looking at probably around 100 bucks, 120 bucks. So you're up to 1420 right there. And it's not too bad, but so we'll get there and we'll see what the quad looks like. Hopefully it's good, and then hopefully we'll have it in the back of the truck in no time, so stay tuned. All right guys, got the beast back there. It runs pretty good. The guy did a top end rebuild on it, and he used a cylinder from eBay with a piston from eBay, so we might have to go through it, but he said it runs good with power, and it's missing the clutch cable that melted to the engine, and then it's missing, what else is it missing? Like the solenoid doesn't work, so I think we need to do some wiring on it. But all in all, it's not too bad. The back tires need to be changed for sure. One's leaking air. Seat cover could probably be dealt with. Needs a little paint.
Turn left onto Wisconsin 54 East. Wisconsin 54 Trunk East.
Needs a little paint here and there, but he said the plastics were like 600 bucks alone, so it was a pretty decent deal. He said he had a bunch of guys coming for it, so he wouldn't go lower than 13, unfortunately. But we'll take a look at it when we get home and check it out. Alright guys, sorry for the wind, but we finally got the quad back home. Little walk around. As you can see, it's not the cleanest thing in the world, but it's not too bad. These plastics, the guy said, were $600 something, so right there, it's already almost the price of the quad. It's got newer front tires on it. It looks like newer rims as well. It's got red painted metal pieces. I think he probably just did that for looks. Looks like these nuts are broken, but you can just put a bolt through there or a zip tie or something. But these are, I think these are either original or it doesn't have a aftermarket stamp on it for the Nerf bars. I'm looking for something like a DG mark or something, but they're aluminum. And it's got a full White Brothers exhaust, R4. You can see it up here, so we can use the tinfoil trick again for that. And the rear tires are pretty bald. Looks like somebody was doing some burnouts with it. But we've got some from the other one we can use. And then he said the brake was a little finicky, but it doesn't seem too bad. It's a little wobbly in there. It probably just needs some new grease. Suspension's not too bad. Front suspension on these things are kind of junk anyway. All right, here's the beast. Now that we're out of the wind, wind's really strong today, so probably can't work outside. But yeah, so we could ride it today because it does start up, and we'll start it up here in a second. But the clutch cable, which this is a common problem, was melted to the pipe. You can see it right there, and he said it like locked up. So we'll take off the clutch cable, try to get that loose, and then we could potentially ride it today. I do want to start it up for you guys so you guys can hear what it sounds like. To me, it sounds like it's kind of knocking a little bit. And I'll kind of go over the story of the quad. It's interesting. But you can see that there's an aftermarket cylinder on here. See the different colors? So this is new. And the guy said he had the kit from eBay that was like 150 bucks. That included the piston and the cylinder. So right there, it's kind of a red flag. And this is the old cylinder that was on it before. And we're gonna measure this bore because he said it was bigger than the stock bore. So the reason he rebuilt it was because he said he lost power. And if you look at the piston, nothing is wrong with the piston. All the rings are good. Well, at least intact. I mean, at least it should have a little bit of power. Even if the rings were out of spec. No scratches on the piston. And then the cylinder. I left the cylinder out in the rain, that's why there's a little rust forming on it, but there's literally 0 scratches on the cylinder wall. So I'm not really too sure why it was rebuilt, but he said he was riding it, and all of a sudden it just lost power when he was riding it. So that's the story behind that. This also does not look like the stock cylinder. I don't think anyway. Let me just match up the colors here. I don't think it's a stock cylinder. No, I don't think it's a stock cylinder. We'll measure it quick and see, but pretty sure that's not the stock cylinder. And what else is wrong with this quad? So he said that he bought a new solenoid for it. I'll show you right here. He said he bought a really cheap one right down here, solenoid for it. And he said he installed it because the old one didn't work, and this one now doesn't work, he said. So I'm guessing he wired it incorrectly. And he said that now when you turn on the key, the starter just starts. And that's why he had the wire right here detached. So what he does is ground this to the frame and then try to crank it over. And what he does is he crosses the solenoid with a screwdriver and then that starts it. So I guess we could ground it to the frame and try that and then try to start it up that way, just so you guys can hear it. But we'll take a look at the wiring as well. We'll have to take off the plastics and then just look at the wiring. We might actually do that first before we try starting it up. But yeah, that's the quad, that's the story behind it. Everything is pretty decent on it, it's not bad. He put new bearings on one wheel, he said, in the front, and then he has a kit that he gave me for the other side, so there are new bearings in it, and then he put some skid plates on it and stuff like that. So you can see the model number right there, 2000, so this is a 2000 400EX, and he got rid of the lights on it and then just put the new ignition right here, and then there is a twist throttle on it. And if we take a look under the seat here quick, we'll check out the air filter. I actually did this when I bought the quad to make sure it was decent. So it looks like the stock box is on here. Take a look underneath here. Alright, so that's the air filter on it right now. Huh, doesn't seem too bad. There's oil on it, so that's good. And the carburetor looks like it's pretty decent. Nothing's really too dirty on it, which is good. And then he said there's a new sprocket and chain on it. New sprocket, new chain, front and back. We've got the case saver on it. And then we'll quick check the oil, because I know a lot of people want to see the oil. Alright, let's take a quick look at the oil. You can see the oil mark is pretty good. He said he did an oil change with 10W40 after he did the rebuild with a new filter. So I mean, technically it should be good to go. Let's just check on the side. I saw that there was a mark. I think there's a date right here. It says 20W50 919. Yeah, I don't know, that's not good. Good thing we have a bunch of filters for it, so we could probably just change that out. And who knows about the oil. He said he put new stuff in, but a lot of people don't drain it all, and yeah, so we'll have to put a new filter in there, not a big deal. And then everything else is fine. Steering's a little loose up here, a little rattly, so that needs to be fixed. But overall, it's all here. It's pretty much complete except for the lights. Actually, there's a tail light on it. Looks like an aftermarket piece of junk on it. But at least there is one. But yeah, let's try to look at the wiring and see if we can figure it out. Alright, first thing we're going to do is try to diagnose this wiring situation. Because right now it's not great. I'm going to quick show you guys what the guy did to start it. So, like I said before, he crossed the solenoid with a screwdriver and then grounded this wire to the frame. and then had the ignition on. So let's just try to do that and see if it starts up. Oh, if it works here. Seems like the battery's a little low. Alright, so let's try to figure out the solenoid first and then go from there. I think the battery needs to charge. Alright, so if we take a look at the solenoid wires, we hooked up the positive wire over here, which was disconnected before, and we're getting 12 volts if you look at the voltmeter. If you guys can see that, let's see. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I'll put it right there. Let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the voltmeter. So we get 12 volts when we're at the battery. You can see 12.55. But when you turn it on, you should have 12 volts coming out of this wire, because this is going to the solenoid. So let's see. So when you hit the starter button, you should have 12 volts coming out of there. And there's nothing. 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 And obviously there's not going to be anything here. And then you can check this one too. Nothing. So that tells me that the switch up here is not sending voltage down to the solenoid to turn it on. And what happens is it goes down to the solenoid, there's a little switch in there that comes up and then connects the two connections right there, and then it goes to the starter, and that's kind of how it works. So I think we should focus up here and try to figure out where that power should be going to and where it's not going to. So it should be coming to here from the switch, getting 12 volts, push the button, 12 volts travels down to there, through this wire, to here, and then it turns it on, and then when you don't press it, it shouldn't have 12 volts. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Once we get that done, we can charge the battery, and this thing should start up. Alright, so now we've got access to the tank. That should have straps going right here. Does not have straps, so guy must have just taken those off. Alright, now here's the wiring in the front. Looks like it's kind of ratty in here. Okay, so this thing isn't even going anywhere. Let's see. That thing's not, that's a light bulb for something. Oh, that must be the neutral light. Alright, so we've got the tether switch, which is hooked up to a black wire right over here. Hooked up directly to the coil wire. Interesting. I think that's correct. I can hear something moving in here. I think there's like a bad ground or something going on. I'll disconnect that. I could hear like something going on, like sparks going on. Not good. So we'll look into this mess, see if we can get it figured out. Typically, wiring's not too bad, but we'll see if we can figure it out. All right, guys. So here's the solenoid. I think we might be having a problem with the solenoid. So this is constantly on. So what's supposed to happen is you push the switch and the voltage goes to this side, and right now there's 12 volts here, 12 volts here, no matter what, even if these wires are unplugged. So that tells me that this is stuck on right now. So what we're gonna do is try to take it apart. There's a little notch right there, little notch right there, and it should come apart with a spring in there and like a little metal plate, and that metal plate usually pops up when the switch right here is pushed. Alright, so here's the little metal coil. Just unwrap that tape and see if these are burnt. Doesn't look like they're burnt. Here's the pin that connects stuff. So set in there like that, and then like that. I think the solenoid is just junk, but yeah, so. All right, we know that, we can order a new one. All right, just ordered the solenoid, it was 20 bucks. So that should be coming Monday. So we'll wait for that, and then we'll work on the wiring, see if we can get the rest figured out here. All right, looking at the switch up here, doesn't look like anything was tampered with, so that's probably all good to go. What we're gonna do is try to flip on the light and see if that turns on. We can switch it up there. That will tell us if that switch is working. And then what we can do is hit this one and then test it down there and see if that switch is working. So that's the plan for that. Once we figure out if this is working, then everything's easy after that. All right, guys, so I just found the issue. So up here, you can see there's two wires right here. These were disconnected to begin with, and I just connected them. But, okay, so these are the neutral switch wires. And typically on the 400s, the neutral switch has to come on in order for the machine to work, or for the starter to work. And I actually found that there wasn't a neutral switch down here on the neutral switch. Where is it? It's down here somewhere. Oh yeah, the little peg right there. There's no wire going to that. And if you look on my other one, you look on my other Honda, this is what it should look like. See that wire coming down here to the switch? That's what it should look like. And mine was disconnected. And that's why when you hit the starter button, it wouldn't trigger that solenoid. So now, when you hit the starter button, you get power to right here. And I'll quick show you on the voltmeter. So that is awesome. Get 12 volts. So that's fixed. I think what we're gonna do is order up a switch for the neutral switch, just so that works, but it really doesn't matter. If you twist those wires together up at the handlebars, you can bypass it. So this must be a different kind of clutch. Let's quick take a look at my other one. this pro taper thing on here. Yeah, it looks like an aftermarket clutch. Go take a look at mine. I think these are a little bit more intricate. Yeah, it's completely different. So this one has really nice, got the parking brake on there and everything. And then, if you look over here, yep, here the neutral light wires right there. They go into there, so yeah, just an aftermarket clutch. Alright, so we're gonna try to get the clutch cable off of here. Let's take that off. This is gonna have to be replaced. I actually bought a new one a couple days ago, right when I bought the quad. Alright, check out the old clutch cable. You can see it was melted pretty bad, right to the head. That's a pretty common problem. So we're gonna reroute it in a different area when we install the new one. But you can see it just burnt right through it, and this thing does not work at all. You can see does not pull out at all. So this is just junk. All right, so far in this quad, we finally diagnosed the solenoid problem. We got the clutch cable off, and we checked over the whole quad. Everything seems to be here and intact. So next video, we'll install the solenoid and start it up for the first time. Take it for a ride. We're probably gonna have to take it apart and check the piston, the valves, valve seals, stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. Should be pretty fun. And then the clutch cable should be coming, I think, Tuesday. So we'll ride it around Tuesday, and yeah, we'll see if this thing has some power. So stay tuned for that. If you guys need any motorcycle, ATV, or scooter parts, check out lap2.com. Lots of good parts up there. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time, we are out.